Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Sportycast. And I think it's a welcome back to myself, first of all, back on 343 after a month-long hiatus. It's episode 160 and it's a stacked episode. We got lots going on. Just from my side, it's good to be back, with Ramadan and the boys shifting the show an hour earlier. We just couldn't make it work with the time difference, but I am back. I know you all thought maybe I was trying to dodge some things, and my team lost the weekend, but I'm here. I'm not hiding. I'm right here, ready to talk about things. First of all, let me go to Jason. Ronnie, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, look, I was sad when I knew that you were gonna leave us for 1 month. So I had to deal with that. I had to deal with that on my own. And then I had to deal with my team just completely not getting off the bus over the weekend. So yeah, I think I've been better. But happy to be back and yeah, happy to be in the chat as well.
Yeah, I know that's where you do some of your best work. AF, good to see you again, my man, on 343. I know we did some cricket work, while I was off the football, but let's go. Let's get back onto this bandwagon of 343 and let's see where we can take it. So how are you doing?
No, not too bad, man. Yeah, it's been weird this past month without you. Uh, Nobody bantering United as you usually do because Jason he's held by NDA and all of those documentation to not really
100%.
badmouth United. So
Yeah, that
yeah, it's good to
that
have
was in
you
his
back on
prenup, no?
our
I
team.
think.
Yeah, definitely hundreds.
Nuptials were signed, confirmed, everything.
Yeah.
And look, I know we got four on the screen here, but we did have Riaz for a bit. He seems to have some audio problems, but difficult to hear the guy from 17th on the log. But we'll try and get him back in a bit later. He says he can only stay for 30 minutes. It's like Spurs; they only stay half the game anyway. So let's see if he does come back a bit later. But if not, then we'll see him in the comments. And then that brings us all spotlight on our guest. Nawaaz, also known or better known as the corner flag. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me. I've obviously seen your guys' work for quite some time, and I'm honored to be here. I like what you guys do. I only wish it was after better circumstances for my team, but I'm still here. I'm gonna show up, and I'm
Hey, look,
excited. I'm excited.
you we all in this content game, and we know that people are not interested when the content creators are happy. You know, people tend to enjoy watching their content creators misery. And speaking of misery,
Yeah.
I saw you over the weekend. Don't think I missed it. I saw you celebrating O'Reilly's two goals quite vociferously. So I did put a bit of a pin on that, and I was like, okay, I saw that. But yeah, we roll. But before we get into the nitty gritty of the episode and the rundown, we just have to do a bit of an icebreaker since it's our tradition when you do come on the show for the first time. So I got a very easy question just to ease you into it. I'm not gonna put you on the spot, not gonna let you be too controversial early on. We'll save that for later. I just want to know from you because I saw your content. You're doing some of that five stuff. I saw you falling into the sideboard when you were taking a shot. So, if you were to pick your ultimate fives team, what does that look like? Anybody in the world, past, present, alive, not alive? What does your ideal fives team look like?
Oof, okay. And they have to be footballers. I'm assuming, obviously. I'm not gonna pick Usain Bolt and stuff like that.
Hey, listen, if you know a rugby player that can play better fives than a soccer player, go for it, my man. It's your team.
I mean, maybe Faf, and his low center of gravity and everything. Maybe he can
Yeah.
be agile. But no, I think okay. Let's stick it to football. Let's stick it to football. I think starting off in goal, it's obviously between Neuer or Ederson because I feel like they are the best like ball playing goalkeepers. I'll go for Neuer, the goat goalkeeper. Uh, in defense, let's say I'll go for Trent in defense. I feel like he's also a very
Nice, I like it.
versatile, versatile defender. But he won't do the defending. Basically, is what I'm saying. Uh, uh, and then I'll go for two midfielders and one striker, right? So, one of the midfielders will have to be obviously. Let's put Messi in midfield, and then I'll put
Okay.
Neymar next to him. I think those are easy. Those two guys in a five-a-side. And for striker, let's go unconventional. Okay, let me give me a second to think of this. Let's go unconventional. I'll go for in a five-a-side. Give me Adama Traore, right? Because I feel like in, in a five-a-side, just give the ball to him. He'll defend it. He'll do more defending than Trent, and then he'll just set someone up, and then they'll go score. So give me Adama Traore.
I was gonna
I feel
say
like they
that. Yeah,
are
look, this team is
five-a-side.
gonna concede. This team is not planning to defend. I think they're gonna hope Neuer keeps all the shots out. But it's an interesting angle. I like it. I like these unconventional teams, man. You know, you want to go out there, you want to have fun. So that does sound like a group of players that you can have fun with. I can see opposition, kicking a lot of these guys, but we're out there to have fun. When you said keep it to football players, I immediately thought if we had more time, I'd want to see what AF's Avengers five-a-side team looks like. But we'll put a pin in that and maybe uh, we can come back to that at another time. So just to everyone in the chat, welcome, Flux. I see you there, 9676. Already firing shots at Trent's defense. And you know what? Actually, I was thinking as you said, Trent. The Real Madrid thing's not going so well, so he might actually come sign up for your fives team, or maybe the Baller League is in his future. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let's go into the rundown of the show today. Going to be very simple. Sadly, we have to do a post-mortem. We're not going to go too much into it, but obviously the Carabao Cup final, Man City land the first blow in the quest for trophies this season. Thereafter, we're going to do a bit of a temperature check. That's what I like to call it. We're going to touch in with all the top clubs, or the more popular clubs, to put it that way instead, and just see where they are at 31 games, what it's looking like for them towards the end of the season. And since we have a couple of different supporters in here, what success look like for you and your club as we approach the end of the season. And then lastly, obviously with the big news coming out overnight with Mohamed Salah confirming that he will be leaving Anfield at the end of the season, we have to discuss that. So obviously get Nawaz's opinion on that as a Liverpool fan, and then just the rest of us as neutrals, what it means, how do we feel about it, and so on. So we'll come to that towards the back end of the show. So yeah, anyone in the chat, if you have anything to say, please by all means proceed. Drop your comments in there and we will get to it if we can, when we can. If you have any questions, put it in there. And also, as always, got to do the housekeeping. Like, share, subscribe, do the thing, and let's get going. Okay, so firstly, I will, obviously as the host, I have the pleasure of asking the questions. So we'll start with Jason Ronnie, who walked into his family or in-laws, whatever you want to call it, house, where the kids were wearing the Man City t-shirts, made for some good content. But tell us how you felt walking into that room after losing.
Look, I actually had to leave the house. It's a Man City household, so I actually wasn't allowed to watch the game there. So I left. And by the time I came back, all the family that said City were gonna win had left already. So I was happy about that. But I did get bantered off by a 4-year-old. He was so grim with me, right? And I'm like, bruh, I don't advocate for fighting kids, but I was ready to square up there. Yeah, no, it was an interesting time to go back in there. Obviously, not a very interesting game from Arsenal perspective, but yeah, the first blow definitely Pep's. Let him win the battle. Let's hope he doesn't win the war as well.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly. I'll keep it brief. I think for me also it was just one of those, completely outplayed. But before I elaborate a bit further, let me get some more input from the other guys. So Nawaz, I'll come to you. Where do you think Man City won that game? Or what was their strong suit, or what did they do well that led to the win?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was attack, like defending from the attack. Like one thing I noticed when I was watching that game was the fact that they had this four-man press that didn't allow Gabriel, Saliba, or even Kepa to really pass their way out of it. Like Rice, his passing lane was always blocked. I think having Kai Havertz in midfield also wasn't ideal. Obviously, Eze or Odegaard, but he's having suffer right now. He's having suffer right now. I'll bring him on eventually. Yeah, so I think it was basically nullifying Arsenal's way forward. But that being said, I feel like Arteta also was a lot more pragmatic than I think a lot of people wanted him to be. Even me as a neutral, I thought this is a game now where you can psychologically, leave your mark. If you win this game, you go on to win the league. Now, I'm not saying they won't win the league, but you're leaving that door open now, that door of doubt. We all know Arsenal fans, they have 3 years of trauma bouncing in a row now. Now it's like 9 points. If they win their game in the end, 6 points. If they win Arsenal, 3 points. So you're telling me Arsenal are going to win all of their games? Because if Arsenal win all their games, the City win all the games, they win it by 3 points. But I don't see either team winning all of their games.
Yeah, for sure. Good point you made about how they pressed or kind of didn't press the Arsenal backline, and you saw that one moment in the game, which just for me was the lowest point, when Kepa just stood on the ball waiting for someone to come press him, and no one came.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like doing things like that. Guys that have played football with me know that I like antiques like that. Just stand off and see what the other people are gonna do. So yeah, it was quite interesting how they did that, and they showed a tactic which I will come now to AF, who did mention this on one of his social media posts, that City have now shown other teams how to play against Arsenal. So do you want to just elaborate a bit more on that, AF?
Yeah, no, like Nawaaz basically touched on it already with the fact that City weren't pressing that that back four at all. They just like stayed like Pep set out in a 4-2-4, and he basically just told that entire front line of 4 players, don't press their back line, wait for them to do whatever they want to, and then they couldn't pass forward because they were cutting all their passing lines. So they went back to Kepa, and then what did Kepa do? Just punt the ball forward and essentially gives the ball back to City. So that's something that I think Arteta is probably going to spend the next like week and a half now during the international break, going back to the drawing board, trying to like find out now, okay, how do we sort of formulate a plan B, so that if teams come up against us trying to do this, perform this tactic that City just did, how are we going to bypass that? And yeah, I think that's probably going to be at the top of his to-do list right now, because I mean, Arsenal doesn't have an easy run of games now towards the end of the season, but neither does City. So all of these teams, they have managers capable of coming up with solutions to bypass these things.
I
Yeah,
think
it's a great
just
point,
to
and
add on that
yeah,
quickly.
Justin, go.
Sorry, yeah. There were two things. I mean, besides that front four, which was pressing us very high, really forced us to go long. That long ball was on. The problem is when you're not accurate, you give a guy like Kuzanov some chance, because he's very rapid. He is quick. He is able to get into that space very quickly. I think there's also not a lot of confidence in Kepa to play out those balls, because I think it was against Bayern. They had the similar press. And what Raya is able to do is he's able to play with one of those passes on the ground through that 4-man press, and it was gone and completely nullifies that. So that definitely showed up. And then I have to give credit. Like, I don't like Bernardo Silva, right? And I think he should get a lot more cards than he normally does. But both he and Rodri stepped up in a way that showed the experience a bit more than maybe Declan Rice and Zubomendi. They were very mobile. They were more mobile than I've seen them previously. So they were able to kind of bypass a bit of our press. They went to go pick the ball up, which forced the front line to press them a bit higher, and then the spaces were in. So yeah, there was a lot that went wrong in the way that we set up. And I mean, ultimately, I would have liked Arteta to actually go for it, because it's in a cup final. And I mean, myself and Ziad had a bit of a debrief after the game, and we were talking about it. You'd want to see your team go for it, because if you are going to lose, at least lose going out in a way that's maybe dignified, right? But
They started
ultimately,
off
this
that way
is
though. They started off quite well. They started off like they were going for it.
Yeah. So it was, and I think people look at that chance that Havertz missed and they say if he scores that it's different. But it's like you can't give one good chance in a half and then expect to win the game. You can't create one clear cut and then say that was the moment that should have changed it for us. So yeah, 100% we look like we started, but as soon as you sit back and you let City grow into it, that second half was like It was Arsenal of old where we suddenly didn't know what to do, and it's not been the case in recent games. Maybe like City away and things of that nature. But at home, we generally go at them and we do what we need to do. But yeah, I think going into the game, I thought it was going to be a make or break. I don't think it was as big. The first hand definitely does go to Pep, but there's still a lot more to play for.
You know how I touched on it's like a psychological thing. So I think that's
Yeah,
the part
yeah,
where I think a lot of Arsenal fans will probably be feeling like frustrated because I think you will still win the league, and I don't think anyone really
yeah,
would bet against y'all. Maybe only City fans because they don't know
yeah,
what's chasing y'all. But I think the narrative of always of like Arsenal bottling it and you'll ever won trophies. Now it's still 6 years and counting. West Ham, Crystal Palace, Newcastle have all won trophies now, more recent than y'all. That was an opportunity where you could have like closed that door. You're like, okay, that's done now. You can't banter us. Like that's why people are frustrated with Mikel Arteta. But I think the league is still coming. If you'll somehow bottle it, this might be the worst one. But I don't think y'all will.
I think people are forgetting that Man City has a crazy final 7 or 8 fixtures. So they have the match in hand against Crystal Palace. They have Chelsea. They have Arsenal. They have Everton, who are balling at the moment. Brentford, who are basically playing for a spot in Europe.
yeah,
Bournemouth, who are bowling as well, and then they end the season against Aston Villa, who wants to make sure that they get Champions League as well. So those are 7 or 8 crazy fixtures that City has to encounter. So I don't think it's as good as you can say that, like, okay, if Arsenal lose about 2 games or so, then like City has a chance. City has their own demons to sort of overcome right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll obviously get into it with the temperature checks and seeing of that nature. And it seems like we've just lost the ad now, but it's like there's a lot riding on each of those games, both for City but also Arsenal as well. Yeah, so I think like MC saying, it's 100%. There's more to play than just that one game, and okay, it was a bit upsetting, but if we were to look at City now, AF, what do we think this does? I mean, it's been a bit of a tough last 10 days for them, and this kind of put a bit of a smile. But they drew against West Ham, which basically gave up a bit of ground in the league. They lost very convincingly in the Champions League, so with them only having FA Cup to play for and in this league running, do you think it kind of galvanizes them having won this now?
Yeah, sure. It does give them some extra sort of momentum, and it motivates them to go the extra little bit. There was some camera work that was done just before the game started when City was in that huddle, and then they like sort of zoned in on Erling Haaland, and he said like let's remind people who we are, we're still here, and all of these things. It was a really good pep talk, and I think it actually worked in the end. But that probably just like you said, it probably just galvanizes them for the rest of the season. They are still encountering tough games on this front, and then they have Liverpool in the FA Cup as well. So that's another tough
Yeah,
game. Their mental strength is going to have to be through the roof to overcome it
yeah,
all. But yeah, it's definitely something that's going to motivate them to aim a bit higher now for the rest of the season.
100%. Zip, back with us, bro, or not as much? Doesn't seem like you can hear us. Doesn't seem like you can see us. Okay, that wraps up a little bit of the Carabao chat. I don't want to talk too much more because I will start crying. But good to see SPO's back in. Just going to touch on the comment. We're saying Man City wants to win FA Cup this season too. Man City will beat Liverpool. But after that, in FA Cup semi-final, Man City will face that annoying Arsenal again. I think the best thing about this comment is that you capitalize every word. And that actually shows commitment to the message. Yeah. Good to see you here. Haven't seen any of your predictions in the recent weeks. I'd have loved to hear what you had to say about that West Ham game. But Zips, back with us. We're going to move on to temperature check.
Nah, you Owen Suma talk me off the stream, bro. I didn't even get a chance to put a word in sideways there. You were going onto
You
another
exited as
tangent
soon as we
with
started talking about City coming for us.
See, all I wanted to say was you mentioned that you and I did a debrief after the game. So I just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to say that, if they're interested in hearing our debrief, that's behind the paywall. Just reach out to Jason and he'll send you the link to make the payment. And you're more than welcome to join our debriefs after games. It's bonus content, So if you're interested in that. And yeah, the one thing I just wanted to say before we move on is that we showed that we can play a certain way. We did it in that first 10 minutes, and then unfortunately we just went back into that control mode. Like when you're playing FC, whatever you play now, when I used to play, it used to be called FIFA, but you press that button at the back and you go from playing the default tactics to ultra aggressive,
Yeah.
contain, defensive, whatever. And remember, Arteta pressed that button on the control to make the mana go into the contain mode, even though they were playing Lekker, pushing forward in that first 10, 15 minutes. And then, yeah, they couldn't get out of it. I think the controller broke at halftime because when he tried to get the mana to attack, his batteries were flat or something. He couldn't make the changes. And yeah, I mean, I saw a comment. I think it was Riaz. Honestly, should have gone for during this game. I don't mind too much. There's a lot to play for still, which you guys did speak about. Jumping the gun a little bit. But okay, we will go straight into that now as we wrap up the Carabao Cup and move on to the next segment. So essentially, we're just going to look at each club and look at what they have coming, and what the season's going to look like as we go to the end of it. So we already did speak about Arsenal, and AF did mention Arsenal's upcoming games. And AF, you seem to think it's not too easy. Is that right?
I don't think it's too easy for City. I think Arsenal have the easier run, if I can put it
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
It's both tough
Okay,
runs,
okay.
but I
So
think Arsenal have the
no,
easier
no,
run
no,
of
it's
us.
not. It's not. And I'm not saying we're gonna win or lose, or whatever the case is. But on paper, we do have an easier run in because you got
Yeah.
Bournemouth home, followed by City away, which is a big one. Then it's Newcastle home, Fulham home, West Ham away, Burnley home, and Crystal Palace away. So that is not too hard of a run if we all completely honest about it. The thing that does make it difficult is how long we stay in the other competitions, because that just means it's tons of games that are being played. But I do think Arsenal have an easier run in than City and some of the other teams. Jason, for you as the resident Arsenal fan, what does success look like when we get to game 38?
Um, yeah, probably league. 100%. We've been in a commanding position for, I'm not going to say it's been very commanding. There were times where City were 2 points behind us, but I mean, we've seen this before. So, yeah, I'd say league, and then I'd like to think that we maybe possess a squad and the team to do a Champions League final as well. But ultimately, the mark of success is the 38 game stretch, right? Can you be consistent over that? I would think that's ultra successful. And yeah, if we have to do a domestic double, I'm going to take that. If unfortunately Champions League eludes us
Okay,
again,
fair.
then we must just go
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I hear you. If for you, what have you made of Arsenal season thus far? And do you think they will win the league by the end of it?
I think, like, based on everything that I just said now, I think Arsenal still pretty much pole position. I think that they'll see it across the line. Um, and I think that just a league on its own, like, ignore the FA Cup, ignore the Champions League, just a league on its own would be extremely successful for Mikel Arteta. This is what he's been building towards for the past like 6 years now. Um, he's been very unlucky on some occasions, but there has also been like tactical shortcomings from his part as well. So it seems like he managed to tick most boxes this season. He got the players that he needed. He got Zumamendi in midfield. He got Gyökeres up front. These players, obviously, they played their part during the season. And yeah, I think if the season finishes and he ends with only the league to show for it, I would think that he'd be extremely chuffed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I see Riaz with a comment there. The league is minimum requirement. I agree With that, I
Stay
think
in the league is
it's all
minimum
about the league. That's the way
requirements.
it is for me. Nawaaz.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going now. Okay, okay.
Nana, go for
I
it.
thought Jason was saying something.
Yeah, thought you guys could hear me there. Sorry, I said stay in the league is minimum requirements. I'm not sure if my sound is not traveling, but yeah,
I'm guessing Riaz is a Spurs fan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but I honestly think that no, the league will be Arsenal's this season. Um, I think obviously the approach that Arteta took this year was different to the other 3 years, where my personal opinion, he went into the league campaign trying to get as much games where he can avoid defeat instead of trying to win it, if that makes sense. So he's basically made sure that he loses less games this season than what he did in the prior seasons. So that's why games like the one that happened over the weekend, that's why games like that can still happen. So I don't think there's any other competition that you guys will win, because I think when it does come to that game where you'll have to play football against maybe Barcelona in a couple of weeks, or when you're gonna have to play football against maybe one of City, Liverpool in FA Cup, then those will be the games where you can truly analyze Arteta and see how far has he come tactically. Because right now it's as if the 3 years of trauma has made him go backwards in tactics. This is like Jose Mourinho style, maybe even worse, where he's so defensive, but it's getting the job done. And I think no matter what, Arsenal
Yeah.
fans shouldn't care what the rival fans say. Like, you're getting the job done. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I don't care. You're right. I'm tired of enjoying the football and not winning. I've had almost 20 odd years of that, bruh. So I don't care. Since your name is also the corner flag, and that's currently where I'm based. You can find me on the corners, just waiting for someone to
People
kick.
think I'm
And
an Arsenal fan, by the
yeah,
way.
set pieces, bruh. Let's go. Let's do it. So okay, that's Arsenal. We'll just move on to City. Who are in second position, 9 points behind. Like you mentioned earlier, Nawaz, if they do win all their games, if they win their game in hand, they go to 6 behind. If they beat Arsenal, it's 3 behind. And there's chance that Arsenal drop points along the way. So to City, City do have a tougher run, but not towards the end. At the end, I think it's pretty similar to Arsenal's in terms of it being fairly simple. It's just this Chelsea game that they have coming up, followed by Arsenal home, which is a tough one. Then it's Burnley, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Villa. And we've seen Villa being very hot and cold by the end of the season. Villa could have a lot to play for. They could also have nothing to play for. So we don't really know. But City are in a decent position. They're starting to play better football. They're out of the Champions League. So not as much for them to focus on. So AF, coming back to you, where do you see City ending the season? Are they in second? Do they pull Arsenal back and get into first? What do you see?
No, I think second place. I don't think that they win the FA Cup either. I think they stumble against Liverpool, in all honesty. And yeah, I think that's going to be them Carabao Cup and second in the Premier League. And I don't think I don't think that Arteta is going to see that as successful. I think he's going to see it as a failed season.
Arteta or Guardiola, bro? What?
Guardiola, my bad.
I know your team changes managers every few months, but it's just let's focus here. Also, we already got Nawaaz on the show, no? And I think you don't have to say Liverpool's gonna win, so he comes back. I think he will come back. But right, I see your move.
He
I
seems
see
like the hook is in already. Yeah? AF is now trying to get the.
You have to do
reading
what
it
you have
in
to
your side.
do, man. You have to do what you have to do.
Fair play. Scandalous, but I approve.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay, and then for you now as well, obviously AF said Liverpool's gonna beat City in that FA Cup game, so that's a positive for you. But just quickly from your perspective, from the outside looking in, who has been City's best player this season?
Yeah, I'll have to say probably Semenyo. I feel like I've witnessed a few games this season where he's the reason why they picked up points. So, I mean, it's been a really awful season for them also in terms of the individual stars, but Semenyo for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's weird because he joined in January and he seems to be the player who's had the biggest impact.
Best players in Jan.
January, yeah,
Him
it's
and-
true though.
Just have to
Before you've
pause
low-key
everyone here.
Donnarumma.
Yeah, definitely. I mean that goes without saying. You couldn't get the ball past that guy. Only weird goals get past him. Just to stop
Mm.
everyone, the champ is here. Just so we all can acknowledge that Asfar has entered. He calls himself the champ, Nawaz, because he supports Liverpool. So um, on his computer, when
Okay.
he logs in, he's still actually in the 24-25 season when Liverpool won. He hasn't yet come over to 26, but
He
he'll get
hasn't
there
watched this
eventually.
season yet.
Yeah, he's
Oh
still
my.
watching replay. So when you say Liverpool's playing Brighton this week, and he actually watches last season's game because he's stuck.
My word.
Lekker. Now, as far you're a legend, I'm glad to have you here. We will talk about Salah if you can stay till the end. Jason, for you, City, have you been impressed? Let's talk about Ryan Shirky for a bit. I know you're a bowler. I've seen you do some amazing things with the ball at your feet. So, what's your take on Shirky? I know Riaz is a super fan, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think he definitely gives that X factor that City maybe lacked since De Bruyne hasn't been there. The output's not the same, but I think he brings enough chaos into a game that's become a bit more rigid and a bit more structured. So yeah, to have that sort of talent just popping up in the spaces. I personally didn't mind the showboating. I think it's fine. But yeah, it's very different when it's maybe Vinicius doing it, right? So there's an underlying theme to that, but that's not the sort of a podcast. But just so that people know, we are seeing it. Yeah, I think he's an exceptional player, and I think he's going to grow. He and Haaland's relationship's going to grow because they seem to be feeding off a lot of they have skill sets that complement each other. You have somebody that is going to make chaos and slip a ball through, and you have Haaland who's ready to pounce on anything. So yeah, I think along with Semenyo, maybe in terms of impact, I think Shirky has brought something more to the City team where the team itself haven't been great. You can't really earmark anybody, and that's why Nawaaz has to go for Semenyo, who came in Jan. Because before that, there really wasn't any. So yeah, I really like the look of Shirky. It's just whether the rumors that followed him from France are actually true and whether he's actually a bad apple and things like that. But time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. I also like it. And I also like the Ben White's response. I'm all for equality. If you want to do the tricks, that's fine. But if you also get hit, that's fine by me also.
Yeah.
We need more of this in games, to make it a bit more interesting. And yeah, I did see something from Sadiq. And, this is where I wanted to talk about Chelsea. But then, as I pulled up the log, I saw that they are actually not in third. Damn, they're not in fourth either. Where are they? Hey, I'm looking for them here, bruh. I don't know where they are. Oh, they're in six. So, Sadiq, if you want to talk about your team and how blue London is, come back later when the big people are done talking. And also go check your record against Arsenal this season. The men have beat your team whole season. The women have beat your team all season. So, yeah, you can go make more pictures of AB holding a Nando's bottle and we'll talk about the real things over here. Okay, so bye-bye. Moving on to third
Big
on the
session.
log. I never thought I never thought I'd be saying this, but we now have to talk about Manchester United, who are third on the log. I know AF is trying so hard not to smile. Check guys
Yo,
out his
he's
face there. He's trying
feasting,
so
bro.
hard.
He's like, yo, he's
He's
holding his tongue,
he's
but he wants to talk. Talk to
he
us,
wants
AF.
to, yeah,
And
he wants to. No.
what is
We
your
let him
test?
we let him
Okay, okay,
let
okay,
him
sorry.
summer there a bitchy, man. Leave him a bitchy there. Let him just
Now,
enjoy
why
other
there's
people's
nothing good to
opinion.
say about United? So yeah, jump to
No, but
AF for
I do. There's one thing I have good to say, but I'll go after AF.
No. AF is gonna end us off with a bang about United because he's so happy. Jason, obviously, we didn't expect to see United in third place, but they are doing exceptionally well, especially since Carrick has taken over and he's done the simple thing: play people in their best position, and suddenly they look good. So they do have a bit of a tougher run in. They've got Chelsea away, they've got Liverpool home. They still have to play.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a tough run, but I think they're probably locked in for a Champions League spot. Speaking as a secondary United supporter, how are you feeling? How's the feeling in the household with the performance of Man United?
It's been good. I think maybe this past weekend wasn't the best Friday night game. Yeah, maybe not as but maybe not as clinical as previous weeks have shown. And I think maybe some of the energy levels have dropped. So certain performances in the last few weeks haven't looked as good. But yeah, I'm glad to see that they've gotten onto the set piece trend, man. Set pieces and own goals, guys. I'm telling you, it will get you in a good spot. Eh? They've now figured out how you score goals here, and that's great. But yeah, I think there's definitely something to it. Again, you have to question whether the same performance happens if they maybe stay in more competitions and if they play more games. But that's not something that can be answered now. So for now, we have to take them. They are third. They're most likely going to get Champions League. And I think AF called them to get Champions League at the start. So yeah, maybe if you want lotto numbers, reach out to him. But yeah,
Leka, Nawaz, you said you had one good thing to say about United, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's more like one good person because I think Bruno Fernandes scoring also over the weekend probably helps his campaign to get player of the season. Something I've been backing now for maybe a solid month and a half now. It's always between Gabriel or Bruno. I think both Gabriel and Bruno are very impactful for their teams, but I think Bruno Fernandes, if it wasn't for him, United probably wouldn't be in this position now where they're sitting comfortably third. So as much as Carrick has come in, steadied the ship a bit, Bruno Fernandes, had he even played in the number 10 role from the beginning with Ruben Amorim, maybe United would have been a lot better. So it's good to have a good puppet master for Bruno now, actually putting him in the right places to control games.
Yeah, for sure. He's been phenomenal. Easily United's best player. And like you say, he's keeping them in these games quite a bit. And his delivery is so good, man. It makes a massive difference when you know the quality that you're going to get from him. It makes the goal scorers like Casemiro's job much easier because they know the quality of the balls they're going to get. So, yeah, that's the one good United thing. AF, take us away. This is your time to shine and, tell us all about United and where they're going to end and how you feel as a fan with the season and how it's going to end for you.
I just want to clarify that I predicted United to be 6 at the end of the season. So I was one spot off.
Yeah, but England can must have 6 teams in the Champions League, so you weren't
5.
wrong.
5. So they just need one of the English teams to secure a draw in this next round of the Champions League. So if any of the teams, just like I think it's who are the English teams left? Arsenal and Liverpool, and Spurs. Or did Spurs? Yeah, Spurs is out. So it's just Arsenal and Liverpool. So you just need a draw from like one of those teams, and then you like the coefficient like acts in our favor with the Premier League's favor. So then it's like there can actually be 7 teams if you think about it realistically. If Liverpool win the Champions League, if Aston Villa win the Europa League, and then Brentford can get 7th also. So yeah, it's weird how that works. Anyway, just on Bruno Fernandes real quick. The fact that he only started bowling this hard after Amorim left when he's like got shifted to his number 10 position, and he's I think 4 assists off the record in the Premier League. That is mental stuff. Like, I mean, this guy, everything he's kicking is just like turning to gold. So yeah, he's been like that talisman for us this season. Like, I don't know where we would be without him. The way he supplies our attackers, our forwards, they more or less just in sync with him every single time. So yeah, just very, very fortunate to have him in our ranks. And it seems like, yes, Nawaz.
No, sorry, you can finish off. I was going to ask a question. I was going to stir up the pot a bit. So rather you finish your point, and I'll have
stir the pot, man. Stir the pot. Don't worry. Everybody's
stir the pot. Stir the pot. It was Eid recently, so that acne is gonna stay like get stale. So you need to stir it.
So here's me stirring up the pot, right? So obviously, out of the 16 assists that Bruno has, 11 of them have come from set pieces, right? So I just wanted to know. I haven't been too familiar with AF's takes on Arsenal set pieces, but if he's been slandering you all in any way, just tell him he can't, because 11 out of the 16 assists of Bruno have come from set pieces. So Declan Rice also takes all of Arsenal set pieces. So
I've actually been the person that's been saying that you find a way to win. Like if that's on set piece duty, if that's any like if you win ugly, you still win at the end of the day. So whether your football's ugly, whether your 3 points came from a random back of the neck falling down, back of the keeper's neck into the post, like it all counts, man.
That
Yeah,
sounds like that goal that Arsenal scored against Wolves. That sounds like AF's trying to pull it back now. That Sam Johnson own goal. That was a backhanded compliment. I'm base of you, AF. I've seen you before. Huh? Try your shady
I come in
Hey,
nonsense here.
peace.
what?
I come in peace.
Yeah, no, it's all
Um,
good. I mean, assist is assist. I don't mind it at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's playing well, and some interesting comments there. With at the end of the day, a free kick's a free kick. There's no such thing as a beautiful header or whatever WWE header. Some weird things there, but okay, we move on. So that is United. Just to get on to fourth position, we won't go too long onto Villa. Don't know many Villa fans who are watching this, but Villa were looking good. I thought they were looking quite good early on in the season, but they were benefiting from moments. They had a lot of goals from outside the box. They were also, scoring very low XG goals, and it has seemed to caught up with them, even though they have bolstered their squad quite a bit. So unfortunately, it looks like effort is running out of steam, and I personally feel that they could be out of that top five come the end of the season. Nawaz, how do you feel about Villa? Just in a quick, short snippet, how do you see them ending of the season?
Yeah, I always said if Liverpool somehow makes the top five or top four, it's because we're going to occupy Villa's spot. This was like about 5, 6 games ago, and they've been in free fall. So I think Unai Emery will probably prioritize the Europa League. That is his bread and butter, and I think he'll probably fall out of the top six altogether.
Yeah, I think that slide is
Whatever
going to
top
be
five,
there.
top four.
Jason, do you see anything different from Villa, or you along the same lines?
Nah, I think I did call it earlier as well. I said Una's got this trait so he somehow does well in the cup comps. Because even when he was with us, right, we went to the Europa final as well. So he really did prioritize that, and yeah, lost against Chelsea that day because that guy just didn't have it. So yeah, I think they definitely fall out of the race, and nobody wants to take it. It seems very strange because it's only United, and I think this is a weekend where they benefited from they dropped points, but then Liverpool also lost, and Chelsea lost, and
Yeah.
everybody in and around lost. So it was a good weekend to drop points. Um, but yeah, that 4-5 is going to be an interesting one, but Villa definitely going to fall out there.
Yeah, I think the Premier League is odds on to get that fifth spot. So the top five teams could easily get Champions League. And then it depends on some other things falling their way. Like for example, if Liverpool win the Champions League, then it opens up a spot maybe for another team. You never know. So we'll see with that. So that's Villa. If I don't know if you want to talk about Villa, or can we move on to the next team?
yeah, no, I'm not gonna really add much. I mentioned like a few
You've
weeks ago
blanked on me there.
that I see Villa dropping out of the top four. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna stick on that.
I think Ziad's Wi-Fi is going again
Yeah.
because he looks very.
Lost him again.
Yeah, lost him again. But okay, let's jump on. So we've got Villa.
No, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Liverpool-
I did fade out there quickly, but I'm back. So it's
Okay,
now
talk to us
time
about
for
Liverpool then.
Liverpool, who are fifth on the log. Yeah, so Liverpool, I think they are fifth on the log, 5 points behind fourth. They are still in the Champions League, and you could see them actually make a deep run in this Champions League. That we've seen them do it in the past. They do have a couple of good Premier League fixtures up next. They got Fulham, Everton, Palace, but then they do have a tough stretch to end the season with United away, Chelsea at home, Villa away, and then Brentford on the last day. So Nawaz, how are you feeling about Liverpool going towards the end? Do you think they can definitely end in that top four positions, or is it going to be a bit tough and possibly into fifth, and then waiting to see if Champions League is in or not?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be tough. It will be tough. But I think it's like, what's your definition of tough in this Premier League now? You'd rather verse teams that will play football instead of teams that sit back, because that's Liverpool's weak point, really. So I'd rather verse United Everton, Villa. I think we have a better chance if we do that. So I do think we'll still finish. I want to say fourth. I think United secures third, and I think we'll be above our, Aston Villa and Chelsea. So I think we'll finish fourth. And yeah, it just depends. Like I think as long as Arne Slot can figure out a style of play, which I mean, we 31 games in and he still hasn't done that. But as long as he can figure out something and stay consistent, then I think we'll be a better team than anyone that we verse from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, and just on Slot, like I rated him last season quite highly. I thought his man management was fairly good. I liked his substitutions. I thought he did really well in that regard. Obviously, led to the title, and this season it's been a bit of a different showing from him. Where do you think it's really gone wrong if you look compare last season to this season? What's the biggest difference?
I think the biggest difference is I think now it's very obvious. I know we'll touch on this a bit later, but Salah leaving, this was meant to be the season where you're transitioning away from Salah dependency because you can see his outputs. Liverpool are throughout the years, 9 years of depending on this guy to somehow score a goal for you. Like his numbers prove that. So I think him going for Akitike, then going for Isak, 150 million or 120 or 30 million on top of your 85 million pound striker, it clearly showed you that this guy isn't going to be playing with wingers as much as Jurgen Klopp did. He's probably going to go for something very similar to what we saw City do on the weekend, where you're going to have two strikers and maybe two number 10s behind them, and then you can even do that defensive press like how we saw City do. So I think in the beginning, none of us knew what was happening. Now Salah leaving basically gives you more clarity in that sense. So I think that's probably what went wrong. The transition didn't go as smoothly because also he did mention Isak wasn't fit for majority of the season. Then Frimpong was injured majority of the season. Kirk has only started now getting fit. So and
Yeah.
then even Vaz was injured. So it's a number of factors. I think that first one is the main one.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite interesting, and I'll just pivot here to AF quickly. AF, what do you see for Liverpool going towards the end of the season? Do you think they lock up fourth, or do you see something different?
Yeah, no, I think they'll do fourth comfortably, and I'm going to mention this again later when we speak about Salah, but I think similar to the way Casemiro announced him leaving at the end of the season, and his performances just completely did a 180. I think the same is going to happen with Salah. I think we're going to see the Salah of old for the last 6-7 games of the season, and that's basically going
Yeah,
to aid their charge to the top four.
that would be really fun for Liverpool fans, and I think also just for Premier League fans in general because of what he's done, in the league. And we'll touch on it towards the back end. Jason, I'm not going to ask you about Liverpool just because of time. We're going to move on to our team, Chelsea, the team that we love so much. The world champions of the world. Um, and this is what I was telling you, Jason, before the time. When we come to Chelsea, this is what I was going to say is that, Arsenal gets so much hate for not winning trophies. Our manager gets hate for whatever he does all the time. It's been 6 years, blah, blah, blah. We know the story. I mean, you can go read the comments in this chat, even if you want to see. But I firmly believe, and this is just the way I support teams, and I've mentioned this before about teams I like, but if you are going to win trophies, which Maresca did, he won 2 trophies, right? He won the
Yeah.
conference and he won the Club World Cup, world champions, we
Yeah.
were told, right? The best team in the world. And
Yeah.
they fire the manager. United, Eric Ten Hag, we always have to hear Ten Hag won trophies, Arteta didn't. He's not the manager anymore. They fired him. Slot won the Premier League last season, and half of Liverpool's fan base are talking about Slot out, which again, for me, doesn't make sense. But ultimately, if that is how you're going to support your team, then there's very little that I'm interested in discussing with you because it just doesn't make sense. If trophies are the reason to keep a manager, then why are you all firing your managers after they win trophies? If
Yeah.
anyone can explain that to me, then we can have a discussion. But other
So
than that,
Nick,
I just
explain that,
not
please.
not interested in this whole trophy situation because it just doesn't make sense. And yeah, we've come up short, definitely. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that, but at the same time, I don't get how trophies matter so much, but then you also fire the people that win you the trophy. So yeah,
Yeah.
it just makes very little sense to me. But Chelsea, I think they're just in free fall. We saw Sadiq mention Rossinha out already. The man's barely been there for a couple of weeks. They spend tons of
Mm.
money. You know, they just got fined recently for cheating all this time. Um,
Mm.
and it's just like, it's weird, right? At the end of the day, I don't care if they cheated or not. Whatever they put on the field, the other teams couldn't beat them. They won. It's done, right? I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of stripping trophies. That's just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
something I advocate, because at the end of the day, even if you're paying a guy more and you did the team and you did a lot of dodgy things to get the 11 on the field, that 11 beat you in a game of football. The
Yeah.
amount of money in their pocket didn't matter on the day, you know. So that's just the Chelsea thing, and maybe others have a different opinion. They can weigh in as we go, but I think Chelsea are just going to keep sliding. You know, they're just inconsistent. The manager is definitely in above his head. I don't think he's
Yeah.
as good as they made him out to be,
Mm.
and they're just gonna keep getting what they put out there. You're gonna change 8 to 10 players a season. You're gonna change your manager every season. You can't actually build anything. If you look at the successful teams across the league in the past seasons, right? Look at Liverpool. It's been pretty much the same spine. You see Arsenal
Yeah.
kind of have a similar group of players that they're building around, even though they haven't won what everyone says they should be winning. United have now kind of figured out something similar where they're going to build around a certain group of players. And then you obviously have Man City who've done it as well. And when Man City
Yeah.
do change players, they manage to still keep winning. So Chelsea need
Yeah.
to figure it out. I think they slide. They don't make Champions League. I agree with that. And Jason, just give you the chance here. Or with Chelsea, do you think they recover for the season, or do you think that they continue to slide and end out of the top five?
Um. Yeah, I think they're gonna run it very close, and then I think they still make top five at the end. The problem they have is, like you said, and we've alluded to it quite a few times, that spine changes every week, and there's no way you can get any sort of consistency or continuity with that. I think there's a lot that's being dealt from the top down. So I think with the Palmer situation specifically, his minutes are controlled by physios, I think, and that's no real way to kind of get a play like that. I also do feel that he kind of gets the rub of the green in the way that things need to be exceptionally perfect for him to work. And yeah, it's an interesting point that you raised about the sort of trophies and stuff, because yeah, then why would you fire them? And it started when you got rid of Tuchel. I mean, the guy won the Champions League, and then suddenly he was gone. So yeah, I think Austin mentioned it earlier. The ownership's needing a yes man, and unfortunately, that's who they have in Liam Rosenior. Like, I've never seen somebody waffle so much. Like, if you frequent LinkedIn, you'd probably see him there as well, because the sort of stuff that he says is ridiculous, and it's
He's
like he says it with a straight
inhuman.
face. Yeah, and he's respecting the ball, and he's like, it's okay to admit that you're out of your depth, right? It's okay to do this and it's okay to do that, but like, don't be one thing and then you get exposed for being something else and you can't admit to it. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, I think after you spend 2 bill, you have to sort of, that sort of a minimum. You have to get Champions League all the time. So I think they might slip out a little bit, but I think they still make it at the end. But yeah, the Champions League run, and I wanted to mention earlier, Liverpool play a pivotal role in it, in that they have that United, they have Chelsea that they welcome, and then they have Villa. So all the teams in and around them. The comment AF made about Casemiro and Salah making the 180, you should be worried if Salah is going to turn up the way he used to, because he has United and you know he loves to score against United. So that's it's an element to possibly watch out for. But yeah, I think Chelsea still somehow scrape it, and if they don't, they can always go win Europa. They claim to love the Conference League so much. If they're there again, then they can win it again, man. Because it only means that you're in the third best European competition. So then you must. That's, you play against alphabet
Yeah,
teams, then you
look,
must win it all.
Look, Chelsea do have City home, they have United home, then they got Brighton away, Forest home, Liverpool away, Spurs home, and Sunderland away. So it is a tough run in the league, and I can see a lot of banana skins there because almost every team they playing against have something to play for. Brighton want to end up higher on the log. Forest and Spurs are fighting relegation and so on. Sunderland away is no joke at any point of the season. We just saw what Sunderland did to Newcastle. They did a double over them this season, so they really good. So yeah, interesting. I think those are all the teams I wanted to touch on, and just to finish off, I want to let AF say what he wants to say, and then I have to talk about Spurs quickly.
Yeah, I think like the one thing that people are forgetting, and I mentioned this like a couple of months ago, is that Everton seem to be having the season that Forest had last time out, and I think they about 2 points behind Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken. So
yep, 3 behind us.
Yeah, they could be those sleeper agents, and they could make a charge now at the end of the season, trying to get into Europe, and that would cap a very successful season for them.
Brentford as well.
Yeah, there are a couple of teams there. Exactly. Brentford, Fulham, Everton, and Brighton. I think those are the four.
But I think Brentford's whole model
Europe.
just on that, Brentford's whole model goes into mind if they somehow get Europe. Their whole system of scouting, they need to improve their squad depth, they need to improve the squad quality, and that kind of throws off the whole thing. So yeah, that would be one to watch. But Everton, I think, definitely deserve it. Moisey, long servant of the league, long servant of Everton. So yeah, give the man his flowers. Let me go play in Europe again.
Yeah, for sure. Quite exciting. And just to end off here, I'm going to throw it back to Nawaaz. Are Tottenham Hotspur going to get relegated?
For maybe the past 4 weeks, I said, no, they won't, because the players will realize the situation. And every single game they lose. So I don't know. Maybe I must do reverse psychology here, because I don't mind them staying in the league. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The identity isn't there.
It doesn't look good, yeah.
The drive isn't there. The players, it's almost like there's an arrogance about them saying, no, we don't deserve to be in the relegation battle. Why must we treat it like that? But they're treating it like that. They're treating it like they want to play the championship.
Yeah.
So I think the possibility is there. And right now I'm searching more 60% they will go down. 60.
Yeah. But I think
I
think I read somewhere today that Igor Tudor might be leaving by mutual consent.
Oof. Yeah, that'd be good, man.
Man, I don't know what they're gonna do. If he does leave, I think the players, like Nawaaz mentioned, the players are the problem.
Yeah.
Bring in a manager that can that's been in the situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to go fetch like Harry Redknapp or someone old school and just try and fight through. If you think they're going down or not, what's your verdict for you?
I really don't want him to go down, just for the fact of I want Riaz to still have something
6 points next season.
Every episode, I want Riaz to be able to talk about something on the show. Now I'm gonna have to watch Wrexham games and watch Middlesbrough, and that's if Middlesbrough doesn't get promoted as well. But yeah, I think it's looking very bad. That performance against Forest was, man, that was as bad as it got. It was terrible from start to finish.
Yeah, that's not looking good. Jason, for you?
Look, love Riaz as a person. Hate the fact that he supports Spurs. So yeah, maybe I think they will. They're not showing anything that gives me indication that they will survive. The only thing I can say is that West Ham probably don't have what it takes to actually step up. Like Nottingham Forest went there and said, you know what, we are gonna survive at your expense. But West Ham, I don't think they would be able to do it. I just think they run in maybe. I mean, maybe Nuno has something to prove as well. Nuno is at West Ham, right? Like, would he have something to get over Spurs just for that sort of spell that he had there? That would be interesting.
Look, I've watched quite a few West Ham games, and I think West Ham are a bit more in a position to fight than Spurs are. So I actually think we could see Spurs go down. It would be, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's every chance that Spurs go down because they're playing against teams in and around them and they're not doing the business. It's different if they're losing to top 10 teams. They're losing to teams around them, and that hurts more than when you do lose games you expected to lose. You know what I mean? So it's a tough one. But anyway, we've chatted now
Can I
quite a
stop
bit
the
about
pod
that, and then
just for one more question? It could be a clip also. This I'm pretty sure it's going to be towards AF because you guys will have a biased answer, right? AF, what's more breaking news? What's bigger news? Arsenal finally winning the Premier League after 20 odd years, or talking about Spurs get relegated? What's bigger news?
I think Spurs getting relegated
I
because
agree. I agree.
With Arsenal, they've been playing good football, so they've been unlucky not to win the Premier League over the last couple of years. Whereas with Spurs, like the last time they got relegated was in the 70s. I think it was 76 or something. So it's been a very long time ago. They've been a mainstay in the Premier League for the longest time. So yeah, I think that would be bigger news than Arsenal winning the trophy after 21 years.
listen, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like I said at the start of the show, people are more interested in misery than joy. So if
Yeah.
someone wins, people aren't there. They say like, we're the worst champions ever. That's what it's gonna be. And then people are more interested in misery. So if Spurs get relegated, it's definitely gonna be a bigger issue than if Arsenal end up winning. So
Yeah.
I'm with you 100% there. I'm sure Jason is as well. But that brings us just to a wrap on that, and we're gonna move on to the final segment, which is the Mo Salah news. So obviously, just to put it all into perspective for everyone, Salah obviously went into last season with with his contract going towards ending. Him, Virgil van Dijk, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Salah had an amazing season and pretty much led Liverpool to the title. And then he was rewarded with a 2-year contract, along with Virgil van Dijk, who also extended, and Trent Alexander-Arnold was the one who moved on. So we got to this season, and Liverpool made a lot of signings which didn't quite fit with extending Salah. It just didn't add up to bringing in Verts, Eketika, Isak. And it looked like they were going to change their style of play, which again, it just didn't add up really with regards to signing Salah to that lucrative extension. We then saw his form take a dip this season, and there was a lot of issues, and it ultimately led to that big outburst from him about being thrown under the bus and so on. He went to AFCON.
Yeah.
They managed to figure everything out. He came back. He's been contributing, but again, his form has dropped off. And we now find ourselves in the position where they've agreed, I think by mutual consent, that he will leave at the end of the season on a free transfer. Obviously, massive news, because Salah has been one of the best players in the league for the better part of the last 6 to 7 years. And when all is said and done, he's going to be one of the best players to have played in the Premier League. I think that we can all agree on fairly easily. His numbers have been phenomenal. And just watching him play, he's magical. And before I give Nawaaz the floor, this is something that I always tell Jason. I saw a lot of the comments about Saka. I didn't miss it. And I'm a huge Saka fan, obviously, as an Arsenal supporter. I love my player. But at no point do I feel, and this is what I tell Jason this all the time, when Salah has the ball in his prime and is running at you, I feel like a goal's going to happen. And I don't feel that way with Saka. I still like the player. I think he's really good. But I don't think he's in that tier of a prime Mohamed Salah. And that for me is the biggest difference. And again, I'm not hating on my player. I love my player. I don't want to replace him. Don't offer me any other player in the world. I won't choose him. I will always take Saka because of what he means to the club and what he's done for us over the years to get us here. And that brings me on to Salah.
Yeah.
For you, Nawaz, when you saw the news, how are you feeling? The end is there. Is it how you anticipated it to be? Or what's going through your mind? Talk us through it. Where were you when the news dropped?
Oof. So where was I first? I was driving back home from work. Had supper with the colleagues afterwards. It was a good night. Had a good night out. And then I'm going back home. My phone's buzzing now. So what's going on? Then people are tagging me on WhatsApp. How do you feel? How do you feel? What's going on? Scrolling a bit. Salah's leaving. Then I switched off the radio. Now I'm driving the rest of the 30-minute journey back home. No music, just taking it all in. Like a family member died. That's how it felt. Genuinely, like
Yeah.
I was taken back, man. I was like, yeah, I had to drive slow. Also, I was driving 80 kilometers on a 120. Yeah, just crazy.
You must be
But
careful. You mustn't drive that slow. Just now they think you're trying to hijack somebody. You're scoping out.
especially in Johannesburg.
But
Yeah, now
did you
they
see
come
it
next to a
coming?
car and they see a man crying while he's behind the wheel.
Did you see an announcement
um,
coming at this point, or did you think it would come at the end of the season?
no, I was confident throughout the whole season that Salah was going to leave by the end of the season. I thought that the 2 year contract extension meant that, okay, we'll see how he plays this season, and then if he's playing good enough, the offer from Saudi, basically how good he plays this season will determine the value for that offer from Saudi. So that's why
Yeah.
I feel like things never go according to plan. I think that outburst in the beginning of the season proved it. Him going now on a free proves it that things didn't go according to plan, whatever that plan was. So, but I always thought he was going to leave this season. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, if you mentioned earlier you had some stuff to say about Salah, talk us through it.
No, like I mean, at the beginning, I absolutely hated the guy. Like, I mean, that was just me being salty, sour grapes, everything. Like, but I mean, over the years, I've come to appreciate his talent, his skill set, and basically what he's done for the league as a whole as well. He's definitely going to be missed, and I think at the end of it all, he knew like what was happening to him, what was happening to like his contribution to the team. It was probably affecting the team more than it was helping the team. So I think in good state, like he probably just thought, okay, let me rather just see myself out. I have a couple of games to make this right, to leave on good terms, and yeah, let me start another journey or another adventure somewhere else. I did see some rumors that he still wants to join La Liga, and with Griezmann now joining Orlando in the MLS, I think that they might be looking for a sort of an X factor player at Atletico Madrid. I could see that happening because I don't see any space for him at Barcelona or Real Madrid. But he looks like a person that could fit in quite well at Atletico, especially if Griezmann now is gone as well. But yeah, definitely a huge loss for the Premier League, and he's contributed more than I think he realizes to what the Premier League is.
Yeah, for sure. I think with that, I don't want to dwell on it too much, but it's just figuring out how to let a player leave, man. And it's one of the hardest things to do,
Yeah,
because the timing is never right. And with the type of season Salah had last season, as a club, how do you let that guy walk away, man, for free?
yeah,
It just the fans would go crazy. You want to reward it, but at the same time, you're rewarding past performance, knowing that the decline is there or it's inevitable. And I think in hindsight, you probably would have been better of doing a 1+1 type of contract. So it's a year extension with a mutual option at the end. So both club and player decide if they
yeah,
want to tack on another year. And if both parties feel they want to, he extends. If not, he leaves on the free. It leads to, better optics and so on. So I'm surprised that Liverpool weren't able to negotiate a better deal like that. But at the end of the day,
yeah.
it is what it is. Jason, any parting thoughts from you before we wrap up? I know guys have a stop in about 5 minutes. So, any final words on the Salah? Since you are his lookalike, we get that a lot. So,
Yeah, no, 100%. Definitely used to get it a lot. Yeah, exceptional servant for the club, for the league, representation on another level. Definitely could have seen it going a bit better in the way that he exited. I think that's maybe a cause for concern within Liverpool's structure, because to lose a guy like Alexander Arnold and then have a similar situation, lose Salah, two of your very key players in the last few years, and not get anything, must definitely hurt. But yeah, exceptional servant, and you'll definitely try and stay within Europe, and that Atletico Madrid, especially with Nawaaz's wild take that he had given me earlier, that I want to watch out for, about possibly Jurgen Klopp going to Atletico. Salah will be there.
yeah, that could be
Yeah.
really interesting. I have just a suggestion for you. You get all your Liverpool fans together. We can have a special Salah episode where they can all, give their stories about their best Salah moments and so on. I think that could make for some good content, since we do have a decent amount of Liverpool supporters in the mix. It could be like a therapy session. Let's all remember Mohamed Salah at Liverpool. Fantastic player. Will be happy in some ways as our opposition fan to see him go, because that means attention can focus to someone else that might be running in that spot, who might not be as good as him. Time will tell. But that brings us to the end of a very interesting discussion, very interesting show. Just going to go around the horn quickly, starting with our special guest Nawaaz. Anything that you want to plug? Can you tell the people where to find you, how to support you, and yeah, give us
We
an
stop
insight into
bombarding you
what's
about your
coming from
father
your
as
side.
well.
Yeah, you see, like, if y'all want to see more of me, which I know is very rare, people like to see my father more. Then there's another show that we have also called Prem de la Creme, which is like another podcast similar to this. And I would love to have you guys on there as well, and we'll do a collab. So that one day is more like, having other representatives from other clubs as well. The corner flag, obviously, you'll find that on all platforms, same spelling. That day is more Liverpool focused with like other football takes here and there. And that's where you'll find my father. So if you want to see more of my father, the corner flag is where you'll find him.
It's actually a good point on the fathers, Mr. Rani. I don't know if you are watching, but we need to get you on, and we.
And just
Just
like
like
that,
that. Just like that. The episode needs to end. Yeah, you can find us at Sportycast. And we would love to do a collab. So yeah, let's definitely set that up. AF, anything exciting for you in the upcoming weeks?
no, nothing exciting from me. Just not going to be watching soccer because my team doesn't play for 3 weeks.
Yo,
So
damn, bro.
Yeah, I can't imagine that, man.
great
Yeah,
We are
stuff.
there
bro.
for
What
two
do you
weeks.
do?
I have to now watch
Yeah.
international friendlies.
Yeah, okay, now fair play.
Get
Fair
into the
play.
UFC. UFC is a very good sport. Get into UFC.
I need
AF's
to
into the
find the time to do that.
WWE.
As you can see here in the back, I have to keep up with watching 5 different shows every single day and
Yeah.
all of these things. So I need to find balance in my life, and I don't think I ever will.
Nah, that's fair. What I will say is, AF, if you want to, you can start watching golf, bro. There's a lot of tournaments coming up, and it's very exciting. Riyadh. But yeah, that wraps up episode 160. Thanks for everybody that's in the chat. We do appreciate the comments and the interaction. Nawaz, thanks for making the time for us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully we can have you back again. Very intriguing to see how that 5 team's going to do in a corporate league. I think many fights with Adama Traore up front. But yeah, guys, for everybody that hasn't, please like, please subscribe, share. We have a few things coming up as we're going to be ending off the season. So yeah, that's us. Catch you guys on the flip. Peace.